This video is actually going to be the starting of a part 2 video that I just made. So we're just going to kind of jump right into the story. So if you haven't seen the first part, definitely listen to that or you're going to be really confused. Bye. Whole week I was really stressed, got to the specialist appointment, and they were great. They did a really great detailed ultrasound, and I was able to talk to the doctor right after the ultrasound, because it's like a team of specialist doctors. So there's, I think, a team of like 10 doctors, because they only see high-risk pregnancies. So thankfully the cyst was not there anymore. We were able to kind of relax for maybe 5 minutes until the doctor told us that she did have a concern with the way that I was measuring as far as how many weeks I was. So she was saying that I was actually measuring a week behind, and she was saying, you know, it could just be your dates are a little off. We can do another check in a month and see how she's growing. I did tell her at that time, you know, our dates were definitely not wrong. We were working with our fertility specialist. I definitely know the day that I ovulated. So that just confirmed, you know, the fear that she had about the measuring behind. So we did come back a month later, and unfortunately Haven was measuring at that point a week and a half behind. So they were worried of like blood flow issues to the placenta. And so each time that I would have to go to that specialist and do the checks for her growth, they would also check for blood flow, any blood flow issues getting to the placenta. Thankfully at that time I was 24 weeks. That wasn't an issue. So, you know, each appointment was just like pretty much like an anatomy scan. They were measuring her stomach, her head, her femur bones, just making sure that everything is measuring like it should. I mean, I could still be measuring behind, but I could still be measuring behind, but they want to make sure that she's still growing. You know, she could still be in the 2 percentile, but at least she's consistently growing at the 2 percentile. So at the 24-week appointment with that specialist, like I said, they did indeed see that she was growing behind. So at that point, they wanted me to come in every 2 weeks to do a growth check. For my 26-week appointment, everything went pretty much the same as the appointment before. We still saw the blood issues, the blood flow issues. Thankfully, it wasn't completely absent, so we didn't have to worry about that at that point. We were still measuring about a week and a half behind. The doctor did say at that appointment that I needed to bring a bag, just in case to every appointment. If he did see any blood flow issues, they would admit me up until I gave birth. So of course that was another reason to get really stressed out for me. I tried not to let everything affect me, but you know, it was just stressful knowing that no matter what, I was going to be delivering her sooner than I thought, because at that same appointment they did finally give me the diagnosis of her having IUGR. It's basically in utero. She has growth restriction with her growing just behind, and her being smaller, being in a lower percentile. So at my the next 2-week appointment was when I was 28 weeks. At that appointment actually went okay. That was the best appointment, I guess you could say, because they didn't see any blood flow issues. You know, we were still measuring behind, of course, but she said everything looks good. You know, I'll actually see you in 3 weeks because you're doing so well. If I had any concerns, I can always call her. or call the clinic. I actually saw many different doctors within that clinic, but they were all great. So it's just kind of whoever I saw that day is. They all were very thorough. I mean, they're dealing with high risk pregnancies, so they kind of have to be. So from at that point, I was 28 weeks. Everything was going fine. We actually had the nursery ready already. Pretty much already had everything that we needed to buy. We were pretty much set. I was actually getting my baby shower all set up. It was going to be for the week of, I forgot which week it was, but I was going to be about 30 and a half weeks pregnant when I had my baby shower. So I was making decorations, sending out invitations, everything. And I was 30 and a half weeks. It was a Wednesday. And I was at work and I started experiencing back pain. Up until this point of my pregnancy, I did have occasional back pain. I've always was told that it probably is just pressure on my sciatic nerve. From that, I just try to relax once I started having that pain, and it usually went away. This day, it was not going away. It was pretty constant. I wouldn't say constant. It was like every 10 minutes that the pain was just strong, and it was taking my breath away. It was very painful. At the time, I was at work. I am a vet tech, so we were having a surgery day, and with that, it's a pretty stressful day, just because we are doing several surgeries in one day. A lot of chaos is going on, and so that kind of took my focus off of my pain, and I was able to really get through the day. The pain started to get a lot worse around my lunchtime, so I called my doctor and I talked to a nurse, and she says, if you're not experiencing any bleeding or I'm not seeing any fluid, you should just, relax for a little bit, and then if you need to come in, you can. With that, I wish I would have just listened to my gut and just went into labor and delivery, because at that time I knew that the pain wasn't going away. Something was wrong. So I went back to work for maybe an hour before it just started becoming unbearable. I told my boss, and I wound up leaving. I went home. It was a long drive home because we live like 50 minutes away, so I was having to deal with the back pain. Get home, get into a bath. Pain wasn't going away. I did call the clinic back, and I asked to talk to a doctor this time because I just needed to talk to somebody. Thankfully, I was able to talk to the doctor that I had just seen last at my 28-week appointment, and I told her everything, and she says, let's come in and just check, make sure everything's okay. The moment I got into the car up into the hospital, I knew that I was in labor. I just knew that this was it. Like, I'm experiencing back labor. And I didn't tell my husband right away. I just told him, you need to get to the hospital. And from that point, I couldn't even speak because the pain was so bad. As far as my delivery goes, so this is up until I actually get to the hospital. I was actually going to leave my delivery in her NICU stay on another video, just because that itself is a pretty long video. She was in the NICU for 8 weeks, so it was a very long and stressful stay. So I'm going to make another separate video for that.